So I haven't played that much of the new Hot Shots yet. I know you guys have, but I was a big fan of Hot Shots 3 and the other two before that, but I think I put like over 100 hours into Hot Shots 3. When I started Hot Shots 4, I was surprised at how similar it felt to the last ones. It always starts with a nice long par 4, and then the second hole is always like a really short par 3 that's like after you know the tee's up high and there's a drop and you're holes down there. I feel like it's the same basic course structure that they've had for most of the Hot Shot games.
I really like the new one. I think it's like kind of recaptures all of the fun that I had with the old games, and it does change it up. I don't know if you tried the new swing meter that's in there.
Yeah, I only use that in fact.
You need to use the new meter.
Yeah, I think the new meter is actually a really good thing. I mean, it doesn't in play. It's not that much different than the old meter that you had before, but the reason I like it is because it gets you looking at your character model rather than at a little meter below your character model. So now you have to focus on the actual swing. I'm sure, and I got really good at it. I'm to the point where I can pretty much get 100% power if I want it, anytime I want it. And I've always liked the subtleties of the spin mechanics and stuff. I'm sure I don't know why I've never played like a Tiger Woods game or anything like that. I've always liked the more arcadey feel of it, but it is still somewhat of a simulation, and it's about kind of learning the dynamics of how wind works and whether or not you need to take into account some slope or some physical thing that's in front of you.
The difference between you guys, I never played any Hot Shots game before in my life. I was always Tiger Woods. Basically because my dad, he was like into it. So
yeah, that makes sense.
He's like, I need somebody to play with. Yeah, it's pretty simulation oriented. And then when I jumped into Hot Shots Golf, then I was like, at first, I was like, okay, I can't stand the deformed characters and stuff like that. But then I'm like, well, okay, that's the style. All right, cool. So how's it play? And I tried the old swing mechanic thing, the little power meter at the bottom, and that was driving me nuts at first. Then the swing meter was awesome, just in terms of like comparing it to like a simulated golf game. Like it's just like below that, like for like the casual player to just jump in and like have a fun game. And then like with the multiplayer that we were doing, where you could do like the simultaneous matches.
That's my favorite aspect of it, is the multiplayer, because they have it's online and it works much better than I heard. The Japanese version had all kinds of horrible problems online.
They basically had a tee time. You had to like go and set a tee time for you and your group, and then come back when you actually had set up as your play time, which is
ridiculous,
absurd.
It's a little too realistic for such a cartoony golf game. But the lobby you play in when you go online, it's like. It's like the worst version of Home, like PlayStation Home you could imagine. And we created these horrendous little super deformed characters, and I was so excited to use them to play golf, but then you get stuck with the same schoolgirl sluts.
Oh, so you can only use them in the lobbies?
Yeah, and it's just lame. But also, I think we had a lot of fun too with the PS3 quick text editor, because we basically have enough time to put in a few quick words, and how it has like autocomplete in the T9 style text editor. Right. So we would just all of a sudden string together sentences of nonsense words. It's like
asparagus bomb or something like it. It's just like something weird. Like
it became a meta game to come up with the most absurd sentence structures after each hole. When you're out on the in the middle of the fairway or whatever, you'll see other players, their balls land. It's all ghosted, and it's just one thing too that is about the single player game and multiplayer. As you're playing, you swing the ball, you knock the ball up. You don't have to wait to watch it land like in the last games. You can hit X and it'll jump right to where it lands. So you get in these marathon games, like a nine hole game will take 5 minutes, because it's just boom, you swing, you hit X, you see where your ball lands, you just go. The only thing is, I hope other players will play as fast as me and won't just sit there and swing and watch the ball go and land, and then and then you're stuck at the end of the hole waiting for everyone to catch up.
The championship mode or whatever, the challenge mode of the single player trains you to play that fast, because so much of it is playing the same. It's playing the same courses over and over again. There's ostensibly no difference in the rule sets between. It might say oh, we're gonna play the holes out of order. This time it's the front nine. This time it's the back nine. But after you've done it 7 or 8 times, you feel like you've been doing the same thing over and over again. Now it's golf. And so that's fun, because you're just perfecting your shot and getting better at the game. But I got to the point where I could just speed through it. You get really good at it really fast if you play the single player.
I didn't see it show up in the single player game as much as it did when we were messing around with the multiplayer modes. But the different penalties that you could set up for multiplayer, suppose you hit a bunker, you'll get 2 over. Or if you go off the course, you'll get 2 over. And so there'd be rounds where it's like it's really close and really close, and all of a sudden like you finish like 5 over, and you're like, what the fuck? And it was because like you tried to get through the trees or something, and like you didn't make it and landed out of bounds, and so therefore there's more penalties. So it was neat that it offered it for the different types of players that would go in, and like the conservative one that's like, I'm going to stick to the fairway and do that, and so then you'd have the rebellious guys like, I'm going to just through the trees and like over the bunker and stuff like that.
Conservatively? How can you play hot shots conservatively? You have to hit it through the trees. So it means that there are big rewards for people that are willing to take the risks, and if you
it's not quite as nice as the new pair of slacks you'll get in a Tiger Woods game, because that's always the hot shit right there, a nice pair of plaid slacks.
Yeah, you gotta get those.
But you do get, you build up loyalty in your characters in the single-player game, which is kind of cool. It's not like Mario Golf to any extent at all. It's not role-playing like that. But you do build your skills as you play through the game with your single-player guys. So
I was happy with that. I'm playing as a slutty-looking like maid or something like that, and she keeps getting new, different colors of clothes, and that's really fun. I mean, I like that the caddies give you a little bit of help in this game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big thing by any means, but if you were new to the series, like when my roommate walked into the room, he saw me playing, and I was on a green, and that grid pops up that shows you the how slopey it is, and he couldn't read that at first. He didn't know what the hell it was showing me, and so if it was your first time playing, the caddy does say like, oh, it's sloping to the right, and you're going uphill, so you should hit it a little hard or something like that, and that little bit of help might be enough for some beginner players.
Yeah, totally. And this is a game, I mean, I don't play golf in real life. I actually think it's really boring. But this is a series that I've always loved. And it almost feels to me like it's kind of a Sunday afternoon relaxation game. It's not a prime time, Halo 3 or Call of Duty 4 like kind of game where you're, or it could be something you go to after, say, you've been playing Call of Duty 4 all night and you want to relax and bring back your adrenaline level a bit, and you can just go on for some quick games of golf, and it is like very relaxing.
Why is it that I'm not a fan of golf either, but I've always liked golf games, and I don't like tennis, but I've always liked tennis games. I don't know, there's certain sports like golf just works as a video game, it doesn't take up miles and miles of space that could be used for low-cost housing,
Right. Yeah.
It's just simple, it's just relaxing, and it's just fun, and
it's just timing. It's very much a game, you time it just right, and there is a lot of taking the wind into account, and there is a lot of subtlety in the new swing meter, so it's just
aside from the online play, there aren't any other major new features. It's kind of, like I say, the same sort of thing you've done before. But it sounds like the online play, the way they've handled it with the ghosts and stuff, may be enough to recommend it if I would say if you're not tired of hot shots, it's definitely worth picking it up.
Right. Yeah.
Or if you played it a long time ago, like PS1 days, and you skipped it on PS2, and that old flavor sounds like good to you. You want some of that thing that you used to have, because it's not different. It's just more of the same, but refined, I would say.